When the lights go down and a sad scene plays across your screen, your chest tightens. Your throat feels full. A warm drop of salt water leaks out of the corner of your eye and traces a path down your cheek. You wipe it away quickly. You might feel embarrassed by this sudden flood of emotion. You might wonder why your body reacts to sadness by leaking water from your face. You might assume that crying is just a universal animal reaction to pain and sorrow. But the real answer is far stranger. Your dog might whimper when you leave the house. An elephant might stand silently over the bones of its fallen matriarch. A gorilla might mourn the loss of its infant for days. Animals feel loss. They feel fear. They feel distress. Yet, out of the millions of species living on planet Earth, you belong to the only creature that sheds emotional tears. You're the only living animal on Earth that cries because of a feeling. How did a leaky pair of eyes become the ultimate survival tool for early human tribes? Why did evolution link your deepest feelings directly to your tear ducts? To understand why your face transforms when you are overwhelmed, you have to look inside the delicate machinery of your eye. Every human eye produces tears. In fact, your eyes are producing tears right now. These are basal tears. They are steady. They are quiet. A thin film of salt, water, and mucus coats your eye every time your eyelid sweeps down. This film keeps your cornea smooth and clear. It protects your delicate tissues from drying out in the open air. If a speck of dust flies into your eye on a windy day, your lacrimal glands flood the surface with reflex tears. These tears wash away harmful debris and defend your vision against dangerous bacteria. Every mammal on Earth produces basal and reflex tears. A camel in the desert uses tears to flush away sand. An eagle in the sky uses tears to keep its vision sharp. For hundreds of millions of years, tears were purely mechanical. They were a physical wiper blade for a biological lens. Then, something changed in your evolutionary branch. Your ancestors developed a third category of tears: psychogenic tears. Emotional tears. These tears do not trigger because of dust or wind. They trigger because your brain is processing a profound internal state. A sudden heartbreak, a surge of grief, an overwhelming moment of relief, even intense joy. In the late 1970s, Dr. William Fry, a biochemist at the St. Paul Ramsey Medical Center in Minnesota, set out to solve a simple question. Are emotional tears chemically different from reflex tears? To find out, Dr. Fry had volunteers watch sad movies to collect emotional tears. Then he exposed the same volunteers to chopped raw onions to collect reflex tears. When his team analyzed the samples in the lab, they found a striking difference. Reflex tears are 98% plain water. Emotional tears are far more complex. They are packed with biologically active proteins and heavy concentrations of hormones. When you cry from emotion, your tears carry elevated levels of ACTH, a hormone that your pituitary gland releases during intense physical stress. They contain prolactin, a hormone linked to stress and emotional bonding. They even contain leucine and enkephalin, a natural endorphin that acts as a potent biological painkiller. Why would your brain dump stress hormones in a fluid on your cheeks? Dr. Fry proposed a fascinating theory. He suggested that emotional crying is a physical excretory process. When stress builds inside your system, toxic chemical byproducts flood your bloodstream. By flushing these hormones out through your tear ducts, your body physically cleanses itself of emotional tension. It is a biological pressure valve. This is why you often feel a sense of physical relief after a deep, cathartic cry. Your body has literally washed stress chemicals out of your nervous system. So why don't other animals use this convenient pressure valve? Why doesn't a stressed lion or an anxious chimpanzee shed tears to calm its nerves? Because shedding liquid from your face carries a massive evolutionary risk. Tears blur your vision. Tears track lines across your skin. To understand why emotional tears survive in your species, you have to look at the brutal reality of prehistoric life. Go back 200,000 years into the past. Picture your early ancestors living on the African savanna. You are a slow, vulnerable primate. You do not have sharp claws. You do not have massive canine teeth. You cannot outrun a leopard or outmuscle a hyena. Your only defense is the cohesion of your group. When a human infant is hungry or frightened, it makes noise. It screams. It wails aloud. This acoustic distress call alerts the mother immediately. In early human infants, vocal crying was a powerful survival mechanism. But as those infants grew into adults, loud acoustic crying became a deadly liability. A vocal scream in the open grass travels for miles. It tells every predator in the area exactly where your tribe is hiding. It broadcasts your vulnerability to competing human groups. If an adult hunter twisted an ankle or felt overwhelmed by grief, screaming aloud put the entire band in danger. Evolution needed a silent signal, a way to broadcast distress without making a sound. Enter Dr. Ad Vingerhoats, a professor at Tilburg University and a leading global expert on human crying. Dr. Vingerhoats discovered that emotional tears evolved as a silent social beacon. As human brain size expanded, your ancestors developed intricate social structures. They relied on deep cooperation, empathy, and mutual care. In this complex social world, emotional tears served as an invisible cry for help. When tears stream down your face, your vision instantly blurs. Your eyes fill with liquid, rendering you temporarily defenseless. In the animal kingdom, rendering yourself defenseless in front of another creature is usually fatal. In human society, it was a signal of ultimate trust. By blurring your own vision, you signal to your tribe that you are incapable of aggression. You cannot attack. You cannot fight. You are surrendering your defenses and asking for support. At the same time, liquid glistening on your face creates an unmistakable visual signal. It can only be seen by someone standing close to you. A predator 50 yards away in the high grass cannot see a tear rolling down your cheek. A rival tribe cannot hear a teardrop. Only your closest companions, standing right beside you, can register the signal. It is an encrypted communication channel built into your face. When another human sees tears in your eyes, something remarkable happens inside their brain. Specialized cells called mirror neurons fire in their frontal cortex. Their brain automatically mirrors your emotional state. They feel a sudden spike in empathy. Their pituitary gland releases oxytocin, the hormone responsible for trust and protective behavior. Tears act like an emotional magnet. They draw other humans closer. They prompt physical touch, soft vocal soothing, and shared defense. Dr. Vingerhoats proved this through visual experiments. Researchers took photographs of people with genuine emotional tears rolling down their cheeks. Then, using digital software, they removed the tears from the images, keeping every facial muscle identical. When volunteers viewed the photographs, they rated the people with tears as significantly more helpless, more trustworthy, and more deserving of help. Without the tears, those exact same sad expressions were often misread as anger, confusion, or boredom. Tears are the ultimate clarifier of human intent. They strip away ambiguity. They tell the world that your pain is real. This is why crying feels so deeply tied to your sense of humanity. It is not a design flaw. It is not a sign of emotional instability or weakness. It is the physical remnant of an ancient social contract that kept your ancestors alive through frozen winters and dangerous migrations. When life became too heavy for one person to bear, tears invited the tribe to share the weight. Think about what happens when you cry in the modern world. You might cry at a wedding when two people pledge their lives to one another. You might cry in a dark theater while watching fictional characters overcome tragedy. You might cry alone in your car after a long, exhausting week at work. In those moments, your ancient neurobiology is following a script written hundreds of thousands of years ago. Your brain senses an overwhelming emotional burden. It floods your eyes with fluid to signal for help, to clear out stress hormones, and to signal vulnerability. Even when no one is sitting beside you, your body reaches out for connection. You live in a modern culture that often tells you to hold back your tears. You are told to stay composed. You are taught that crying is something to hide in a private room. But your biological history tells a completely different story. Crying is not a surrender to weakness. It is the highest expression of your social intelligence. It is a capability born from hundreds of thousands of years of human empathy. It is the physical proof that your ancestors survived because they cared for one another. Tonight, if a quiet sorrow or a sudden moment of joy fills your chest, do not fight the sting behind your eyelids. Let the water fall. Notice the calm that settles over your nervous system as the tension washes away. When a tear rolls down your cheek, you are displaying the singular trait that separates you from every other creature on Earth. You are not just shedding water. You are speaking the silent language of human connection, a language born in the dark of the prehistoric savanna, reminding you that you were never meant to carry your pain alone.